Hey everybody, it's Justine, the Twilight Stamper, and welcome back to 3 Cards, 1 Stamp, August 2015 for day 2. We are making this really amazing card. I was inspired by Justine. I'll link to her in the corner over there. And we're going to get started on making this card right away. We're featuring the Count the Stars stamp from My Favorite Things. It's an amazing stamp with great images, great fonts, lots of different ones. And I'm just going to lay out right now what I kind of want my card to say. And because I like to be complicated, I picked a bunch of different words to kind of stick together, mask off. And in the end, I wanted my card to say, "You are my big shining star," I believe is what I ended up working out with. And so I had to do a little bit of masking and figure it all out. This is kind of sort of my outline based on what Justine had made with her card and how I wanted to make mine. So I grabbed a piece of honey cardstock from close to my heart, and I'm stamping the "you are" just because I don't like "your." It just seems lazy. So I wanted to get those two, and I'm just going to put some embossing powder on it and set it off to the side in a safe place where it's not going to touch anything, because I'm going to do all my heat embossing afterwards and all at the same time so it doesn't take too long. So I'm just going to speed you up a little bit here since we're doing just the same thing over and over again. You can see here I'm stamping "my big," and I had taken the "my" from the "you're my shining," and so I had to mask off the other areas. I had to mask off shining because I didn't want it to say that. I just wanted it to say "a big," and I stole those letters from those sentiments there. The thief I am. And then I just knocked off the embossing powder. So now we have "you are my big," and then we need to do "shining." So you can see I masked off the "you're my," and then I'm stamping just "shining." And I'm stamping that also on the yellow cardstock because I wanted to use two of the same color. So "you are my big shining," and then the last thing I have to do here is just heat emboss those here because the other image, star, I'm just going to stamp with regular ink. So I made sure my heat gun was on for about 30 seconds before applying it to paper so that it doesn't warp too much. And I am going to stamp "star" in Lagoon ink from close to my heart onto a scrap piece of Nina Solar White cardstock. This is 80 pound. It's a little bit thinner than my card base being at 110 pounds. So I'm just going to ink that up really well here. Get my ink all over my block like I usually do. That's why I need the stamping press, because if I were to have acrylic blocks, my card would just be a disaster. At least this way, if I get ink everywhere like I usually do, it's not that big of a deal. It won't stamp onto my paper. Anyway, I'm going to apply the die cut. It comes separate from the stamp set onto my cardstock. I could cut it out by hand. I kind of wanted to make a white border around the words and thought about cutting it out by hand, but then I got lazy, so I just sent it through my die cutting machine, and it ended up working out really beautifully anyway in the end, I think, the card. And we don't want to copy Justine too much here. It's not really my idea. So anyway, I'm just taking and carefully peeling back the washi tape and removing the star from that. And now we can just start kind of putting everything together and putting on those final touches. So you can see I have all my star, I have all my stuff there that I've stamped and embossed. Now I'm just going to ink up my wood chipboards here with some ink. I'm just applying my ink pad directly on them. It takes a couple of tries, and I grabbed my bone folder there for when it got stuck on the ink pad so I could take it off and not get my fingers all inky. Just going to speed you up here so while I do the last two there, and now you can see those chipboards are all black. I love those chipboards because they're super inexpensive. So great. Folding my card base to make a top folding card that measured 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5.5 inches to make the top folding card, like I do in pretty much all my cards, and except for my fetish with square cards the last little while, then I have to say, okay, it's not always like that. But anyway, I'm going to add some 3D foam tape. Now, for my 3D foam tape, I'm actually adding two different types so that I get two different thicknesses. So the ones I have on yellow are actually quite thick. I would say they're about 1/4 inch thick, the embossing foam, and then I just used for the other half big Mama roll from Simon Says Stamp, and I had to cut those into tedious tiny little pieces to fit on the back of Star, which probably was just easier to glue that and not use foam adhesive, but hey, I'm crazy like that, so you know, I like to do things that are time consuming. But you don't have to do that. As I said, you could just glue that on. So I decided to start by attaching Star and not pushing too hard, just in case I had to adjust it. So I just kind of pushed it so it slightly stuck, and then I was able to lift it up and center everything. And I wanted to make sure that all the words fit perfectly on there before I actually push really hard on the 3D foam tape so I didn't rip my card base. So I'm just putting here, I'm arranging all of my little things, taking off all those fun 3D foam tape backings. I know we all love doing that. And some people do it with tweezers and it takes them like 2 seconds. Not my thing. But anyway, not my strong point, you could say. Guess you can't be talented in all areas. Anyway, you are my big shining star is what my card now says. It's going to take a little time to readjust here. Alright, so you are my big shining star. We're getting somewhere now. Now I just got to add my little chipboard shapes here. These little, I think they're like lemon. They were meant to be lemons or something like that. I don't know, I like them. I call them swirly things, spirally things, you know, whatever. And I felt like having the black in the top corner and in the middle was great, but I felt like it needed a little bit more black to make it sort of in threes, which is always more appealing to the eye. So I grabbed some VersaFine Black Onyx ink and I inked up one of the stars from this stamp set here. So all of these stamps here come from the same stamp set. That's the whole point of 3 cards, 1 stamp. And now it kind of evened it out and it creates a really great contrast between the black, the yellow, and the pink, and the turquoise. Great color combination. So that's the end of my card today. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. You can click on the top there to visit my blog and check out the supply list. You can also check out day 1's card if you missed it. And don't forget to subscribe. I have all my links on the right to YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.